Well, welcome everybody. This is Ron Coughlin from Branded, and this is What's Your Story podcast. And this is a podcast that is really about telling true stories, engaging stories, ones that kind of touch your heartstrings. And I believe that, everybody has a story to tell. And that story really makes up who you are as a brand, as an individual. But also brands have stories. But right now, we're sort of dedicating our podcast to this whole new normal, this notion of that things have changed dramatically in the last 3 months. And we know why that is. It's because of COVID. And so today I have a really special guest. Actually, this guest is a kind of a famous social media marketer. He's out on the circuit doing all these conferences, and he's sought after. And I actually invited him to one of my classes this year, and the girls were screaming in the background like he's a rock star. And actually, I think he was a rock star at one time in Japan, but that's another story he could tell us. But so I want to welcome Jason Hunt. He's the CMO and former president of Fresh Crowd, now the CMO of Merge, where he merged Fresh Crowd into Merge. And so welcome, Jay. Welcome. Glad you could join us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Ron. And we have our own podcast as well, which we featured Ron on a few weeks back. And we had a great chat. So I'm glad to continue that conversation today on your podcast.
Yeah, so Jay, now obviously 3 months ago, in middle of March, we got the news, let's shut everything down. You have an agency, you got all these clients, and a lot of your clients are hospitality clients, which are really taking a big hit from this COVID situation. And so what was it like? What was that, for your organization? Why don't you kind of go backwards and tell us what that was?
Yeah, so our business, we work with, we didn't specifically pick a niche, which was a good thing for us at the get-go. When I started the agency back in 2016, I was knocking on doors, banging on doors, trying to get some business in. But, fortunately in 2016, pushing social media marketing and management was cutting edge to a lot of business owners in 2016. If I call a business owner now about social media marketing, I'm probably the 18th person that's called that day. So, the landscape has changed a lot. If you do want to get into the landscape, you really do have to niche down. But we're fortunate enough to have an entire, department, dedicated account managers that focus on specific niches. So our business as a whole doesn't focus on a niche, but we have individuals that focus on niches. So when COVID hit, a lot of our clients were affected. Dental, you can't run a dental practice now. You can't, there's no point marketing when you can't bring in any patients. Restaurants have scaled back. Travel agents have pretty much killed their marketing budgets. So, but on the flip side of the coin, there's a lot of businesses that are thriving due to the pandemic, such as e-commerce. So, Facebook right now, it's crazy what we're seeing on Facebook right now in terms of supply and demand. You have a lot of marketers that have pulled their marketing budgets away from Facebook and Instagram and are kind of hunkering down. But then you have, a lot of eyeballs that are on the platform, which is making for a very low cost per action across the board.
Wow, so, true. Yeah, that makes a really good point. Yeah,
it's amazing time to get into the Facebook game if you haven't got into it yet, because the results that we're seeing in terms of lead generation and purchases is lower than it's ever been. And this moment in time is not going to last forever, because when that day comes when things come back to normal, people will start investing their budgets back into Facebook, and we will see those budgets start to rise.
Yes, I want to kind of talk about this new normal. So as a leader in the agency world, what do you think this new normal is going to look like when this all we get a vaccine and all that? What's going to happen? What do you think it's going to look like? Are things going to be the same? What do you think?
Well, I'm hoping I can get to the barber sometime soon. I haven't had a haircut in months, and
yes.
haven't shaved in a while either. So, but you know what? Naturally, look at Zoom stocks. They're flying through the roof right now. And I think a lot of this is giving a lot of businesses and a lot of business owners a taste on what life could look like working from home on a regular basis. So, I know firsthand, we have clients, travel agents that have shut their doors and went with the home-based agency. Because you're just going to save a lot on cost. It's economical, it's doable, it's feasible. And in our case, we're fortunate being in a digital agency, we only went to the office twice a week. So it was no difficult transition for us to move to this sort of business model, working from home 5 days a week. But you're going to see businesses that have never tried this, they're doing it, and they're probably getting more productivity out of their workers too. We do. When we're in the office, we get a lot more stuff done when we're working from home than when we're at the office. The distractions, the conversations, they just stop people from getting what they need to do done.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, for example, works for a very large company. It's a reinsurance company owned by Fairfax Financial. So a big company. They go to the downtown every day. They have to be in the office. And now they're here. My wife's been sent home. And they had to give trust back to their employees. You know, they were afraid to do this, afraid to give them the opportunity to work from home on their own time, thinking that they were going to slack off. But that's exactly what hasn't happened. You know, you give trust to people, they take advantage, and they know they have to do the right thing. Might be a few people that go shopping in the middle of the day or whatever it is, but it's all working out pretty fine for them.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? That's what we say. If you want to, if you want to go shopping in the middle of the day and pick up the work at 9 o'clock at night, if you want to work four days a week and take Friday off, no problem. We're going to set KPIs and have KPIs in place to make sure that you get the job done. And I don't care how you do it, to get the job done and you're putting out a good result, and not working up until 3 o'clock in the morning where you're sacrificing sleep. Obviously, you're not going to put out good work if you're doing that. But we give that kind of autonomy to our employees to choose their schedule, work as they wish, get the job done, and everybody's happy. Happy days.
Sounds like a really great place to work. I mean, obviously, you give people the opportunity to thrive and grow. I know that you hired a photographer. What was her name again? I'm trying to remember her name.
Krista. Yeah.
Tell us that story, because that was really unique. She kind of came to you and sold herself on you, and now she's got a full-time new role, and she created a role in your organization, which I thought was amazing.
That's right. Krista originally came to our agency to do some graphic design work, what we were hiring for at the time. And what happened was it came to the end of, or close to the end of probation, and we weren't sure if we wanted to continue. But what we did was, rather than just letting somebody go, maybe we found a role that would be a better fit for her personality and background. And it's kind of a role that we didn't intend on having, but we kind of just slotted her in there. And what she became was like our in-house videographer. So, she would follow me around, going to Tel Aviv and Las Vegas and going on all these trips, just documenting our journey. Because, I mean, that's essentially, what we're churning out into advertisements on social media is a lot of the behind the scenes clips that she captured of myself and other people working in the office. It's authentic. It's not fake. It's not a commercial. It's our story.
Yeah, I mean, she came to us. You mentioned Las Vegas. Yeah, she came to us and was following us around the strip when there was actually people on the strip, and recording us having conversations about the client, about business, having fun. And it really was a great clip because, yes, you said it was really authentic. So I think it's a really great thing that you've done. It's a great way to capture content and have a committed person to doing that in your organization.
100%. I mean, 90% of the content she does capture, I mean, it's pretty much garbage, but 10% will be gold. And that gold we'll cut up, we'll edit, we'll throw in a weekly episode that we put on YouTube. We'll churn it out in the paid advertisements. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we're 10Xing every piece of content we create. It's not just living on YouTube. We're cutting it up. Instagram stories, LinkedIn, Facebook stories. It's going everywhere, as it should.
Yeah. Now, if you had a magic ball, okay, you could see into that magic ball, what do you think it's going to look like at the end, in a year from now? Like, let's fast forward. It's June 2021. What's the world going to look like, and what's your business going to look like?
I think I think I'm very fortunate to be in the online digital space. I think this is going to become a market that is going to be overcome with a lot of quote unquote experts. I think a lot of people are going to be pivoting themselves over to this sort of a space. And it's an ever evolving space. It's a space that you can get into any point in time and get caught up because it's changing so quickly. I think a lot of businesses, obviously the traditional ones, are going to be leaning more on the online. People, I think, are, even when we come out of this, let's take conferences, for example. like there's a lot of online conferences that are emerging right now. I think people are having experiences, and good ones, with virtual conferences, that they might save their money on plane tickets and hotels and just stay home and have these type of conversations with their clients or potential clients. And that, I think, in a year from now could be the new normal. Unfortunately, for a lot of those, events, I don't think events are going to disappear per se, like the face-to-face type of events. They're always going to exist. I think there's going to be a need for it. I think people naturally need that type of communication face-to-face, not just across from a computer screen. But I definitely see it's not going to be on the up and up by any means. I think a lot more people are going to rely on virtual.
It's really interesting. You mentioned events. I teach in 2 colleges and the event management program. And, this semester, everybody was really worried because we weren't sure if we're going to have any students and where were they going to come from and if they're going to re-sign up again and how they're going to go. And we actually moved all our platforms online to teach online, just like we're doing here, which is really interesting. But the event program, so the School of Hospitality, Recreation, and Tourism at Centennial College has about 1,500 students every semester. This semester, they have just over 400 students. So you can see there's a huge drop-off. But the program that I teach in, which is the event management program, they had too many students. So people are realizing that there might be an opportunity here. And I've got some really interesting people that are in this program, in this postgrad program that I'm teaching. And I'm teaching sales and marketing. And I also teach another course, which is creativity, innovation, and events. But so I'm going to be changing a bit of the content to really talk about this new, how do you put on a digital conference, and how can you be creative in that regard? Because I think it is something that it is catching on.
I was just at one last week. I was speaking at this online conference, but this conference was amazing. It was done on a platform called Hopin, Hopin. And basically you had sponsors with trade show booths. We had a booth at the show, and the things we could do with their booth, it was just basically a little tab. People click on it, the merge media booth, and then it could have me there having a conversation. I can set up a video there. So it's essentially like a trade show booth. You're sitting there having conversations with people that are interested in your products and services. And on top of that, you have the main stage, which is another tab. You click on the main stage and there's somebody presenting. And from there, they even had an after party with a DJ. Imagine that. They had an after party where 20 people can log in there and dance in front of their screens. And you can kind of sit there and just watch this DJ spinning. It was crazy. Exactly like it was exactly like a trade show I would go to, or a conference I would go to, essentially just visual. It was just virtual though.
Yeah. The app House Party, it's taking.
Oh, yeah. House Party is, I've got House Party. I definitely think, there are a few apps out there that might have missed the ball on that one. You know what I mean? Like Skype, there's a race. They dropped the ball. They had a total take it over, and Zoom kind of took over that market. And House Party is a great one as well. But have you done House Party? Have you tried it?
Yeah, we did. We when it first started, we had a house party with a bunch of friends. And then we did the old, here, I'll take a snapshot of that, and I shared it on social media like everybody's doing these days. And it was a lot of fun. It was just good to see people, you know what I mean? And to actually talk and have a drink and socialize, to sit with the same face you're seeing every day in your house.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I want you to think about, what kind of advice you would give to other CEOs, so, or people running, or entrepreneurs, on what they need to do to prepare from, right now and coming out of this whole COVID-19 situation.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a huge emphasis on, and obviously I may be biased, but obviously people need to trend to digital, and it's an area that's not saturated yet. And when you go over to digital, it's the means in which you put your marketing or put your effort to get new clients on digital. It's not about going on the digital, throwing up a post and being like, oh, I'm done for the day, I threw up a post. If you're going onto Instagram, document your story. What kind of value can you provide to the clients? What solutions do you have for their problems? Because that is good content to get in front of them. And then not just posting and ghosting, which a lot of people do. They throw up a post, oh, I did my post for the day, and they take off. You need to stay on those platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. After you put out a piece of content, stick around for 10 to 15 minutes, because that is an opportunity algorithm. and keeps it current, keeps it relevant, and it's going to be seen to more people. And that goes across pretty much every algorithm is the same way. You get those immediate comments on a post and you sit around and start engaging with them and asking them questions. You watch how much reach you'll get compared to those posts that you do when you're posting ghost.
That is true. Very true. Now, it's a special day today, isn't it, on social media?
Yeah, it's Blackout Tuesday. That's right. So we're not posting this today.
That's right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, I to be completely honest, I've watched more CNN in the last 48 hours than I have in the last 20 years. Like it's crazy. I can't stop watching these riots and protests and how the cops are dealing with it. Anyway, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but you know, I definitely think, you know, Blackout Tuesday, which is, you know, when everybody's posting on social media today with just a black image, and it's just, you know, raising awareness to it. You know, it's raising the awareness, I think, is the key. And it's, you know, without going down the political route, it's not about being, you know, I'm not a racist. It's about being anti-racist. And I think by, you know, doing this Blackout Tuesday is really bringing awareness to the cause. And unfortunately, and we've turned off we're not posting for any clients today. We turned off our own ads. You know, we're spending upwards of $500 a day on ads, shut them down for today, because you don't want to be that business sticking out like a sore thumb in the news feed, stuck between two Blackout Tuesday posts. It's not going to be a good reflection for your business.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I have a friend and a guest who's coming on actually tomorrow, to be honest. Going to be talking to a friend of mine. He's a former client. His name is Desmond Edwards. He's the former Director of Marketing Dairy Queen, Director of Marketing Wendy's, and he was a VP Marketing at Wendy's, and he was a Chief Marketing Officer of the Lumen brands for North America. Now he's back here, and he's the Chief Marketing Officer for Nando's. And he's Afro-American, and, you know, I'm going to ask him how he's feeling, because I think it's just unbelievable what you're seeing out there. And I believe that all the efforts we've been doing with regards to COVID and staying safe and, you know, social distancing, now that's all gone to pot. And I think it's a shame, but it's also a reflection of the society and what's happening down there. And it's really sad. So I'm going to be talking about him. It's going to be an emotional discussion, but I'm going to bring that up.
Who would have the 2020? It's just it's a terrible, terrible year, and it just doesn't stop. We're not even halfway through 2020 yet.
I know. So, but you know, I think at the end of the day, agency leaders are going to have to think about their own people. You're going to have to think about their own business. And when you bring people back to the office, what are you going to do? You're going to be putting up partitions, or are you going to be making sure people wear masks? Have you thought this through, or what do you think?
Yeah, so we actually have. And for us, I mean, because it's not an issue for our employees to work from home, it's very simple for us to manage. We don't have a huge office. It's not big. You know, it's the first story of an old house in Rockwood, and we have, you know, 10 employees that are in there. So, and we're talking like there's only a few feet between each other at their desks. So, you know, we're not putting up partitions, but what we are doing is we're thinking about having, you know, we do social media and SEO. So we're going to have SEO days at the office and social days at the office. So, you know, we're basically going to be splitting the staff. I don't foresee us having too many days, if any days at all, where we have 10 staff at the office again. Nor is it necessary. It is not necessary to do that, because we have the likes of Zoom, you know, to have those face-to-face sort of calls. Every Tuesday right now, we have a Zoom call with the entire team. We're all on there. It's a scheduled, structured meeting. And, you know, we get a lot of things that we need to accomplish in a week on those calls, follow-ups with onboarding clients, you know, status updates with clients. You know, everything can be done on virtually and on Zoom and platforms like that. There's less of a need.
That's true. Well, you know, I want to thank you today. And, you know, how can people get a hold of you, Jay, if they want to connect with you or connect with your company or listen to your podcast? What do they need to do?
Sure. So I'm hoping you'll provide a backlink to merge.ca, and people can just click on that from this episode. That's our company. We help out with social media marketing, SEO, web design as well. Myself, I'm on Instagram at JayHuntOfficial, JayHuntOfficial. So if you want to give me a follow there, I am posting a new post every week that's giving some value in the digital marketing space. So if you want to give me a follow there, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and keep safe. And we'll talk. We'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Ron.
Everybody.
It's been fun.
Bye for now.
See ya.